Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Daystar Skill Acquisition, set 37. Today is our 5th day of operation. This is the school day 5. I hope you're excited and you're being blessed. You know, we're starting up earlier again today, just like we did yesterday, because we needed to get a few things much more. We need to create more rooms for us to hear what our guest speakers are bringing on. Very unique area. Today we are privileged to have the chairman of the board of Dsap. We call our board core team, in the person of Mr. Patrick Oloyede. Patrick Oloyede is an expert on several fields. He's a consultant. He wears so many caps, you know, and Patrick is one person that can tell you the deep fact smiling. So I hope you're ready to take in today. And usually he will also want to give time. He's one of the few guest speakers that give us opportunity to take some questions. So I want to welcome each and every one of us this morning. I see we already are about 112 of us on YouTube. I believe as he continues, more people will join us. Thank you so very much. Patrick, you are now on. Please can turn on your videos. And I see you came in with 2 places. I want to know which of them I'm authorizing. Okay. All right. So that I know the one I will give you.
So you can
co-host right.
You can authorize the other one to share. You can authorize the other one to share.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. All right. I've already authorized this.
Yeah.
I can do that as well.
Okay. Okay. There's no problem.
Thank you very much. Okay,
so
sir, you're on.
How are you, Pastor Paul?
Great.
Nice to see you.
The Lord is good.
So good morning to you, good afternoon, good evening, depending on wherever you're joining the calls from. Thank you for the introduction. And it's indeed a pleasure to be part of this session, this life-changing program and plan of Dsap that continues to go all across the world. And so if you're here today, I want to congratulate you for being part of this movement. Allow me to quickly use the very limited time I have to thank Pastor Paul and his excellent team for the great work that they continue to do. The way they continue to evolve and respond to the challenges and the changes that seems to stare at us in the face, it's so excellent and it's worth commending. So please, if you have ways, maybe using your emoji of saying thank you to them, these people continue to serve in a selfless way without asking for anything but blessing lives. So we want to say a big thank you to them, and a big thank you to Dsap Christian Church for the opportunity to actually reach out to people. Okay, that must have taken like 2 minutes, so let me get into it. This aspect of the program was an afterthought that it's more like, okay, you know, there's no how fantastic you are with vocational skills, with technical skills, but it has become very obvious that technical skills would take you thus far. You know, technical skills will take you thus far. That's why the concept of discussing the essential business skills that are required for success in businesses is so key to whatever you take away from this program. And I'm happy to be here to also share with you. Okay, you know, one very important thing that you find that will bring success to you as a person is the ability for people to like you. And most of the time, people don't like you for your technical skills. In fact, some guy wrote a book, The Likeability Factor. And part of what he was saying in that book is that people buy emotionally and use logic to justify their emotional buying later. Meaning, if you're going to be successful with business, people have to like you. Not like you're playing to the gallery, but there are certain skills that you have to display. There are certain capabilities, certain abilities that you have to show up that people just don't have choice, but they have to fall in love with you. So you don't get leverage, you get leverage. If Queen Elizabeth will allow me. Okay, sorry, King Charles now, because we still remember Queen Elizabeth. So what are these skills? You could actually continue to list them. But today I would pay attention to just a single one. And that's the communication skills, effective communication skills. Effective communication skills. You would agree with me that we're always communicating. Either you accept it or not, even when you're not saying anything, we're always communicating. And the extent of our success in life or successes in life has everything to do with our ability to communicate effectively. In fact, countries have been messed up. A whole race have been destroyed. So many things have happened that shouldn't have happened in the past just because of the inadequacies you find in communication. You know, by communication, if you want to explain, it actually means to get the other person on the same page with you. I'm sure those of you will pick up the term communion. Say we are having communion, and communion means to cohere, to coalesce fragment of information together. So communion and communication actually share the same root etymologically from the source where the word is coming from. So when you're communicating, you are in communion with whoever, as long as you are able to get that person on the same page with you, then you are in communion with the person. But you will see, how often do we get this done? How often do we get this done? Because there are several challenges that makes it a little bit very difficult. Again, go back to our educational systems. In a lot of the places, I wouldn't say all over the world, it doesn't seem to take care of all of this completely. At least I can say categorically in Nigeria that probably we don't pay attention to all of the aspects of communication. Yeah, I know there's something about writing, maybe speaking, not so much. There's reading. In fact, the one that is forgotten completely is listening, because we don't get to listen at all. And when you don't listen, literally, you are not communicating, because communication is a two-way traffic. And we tend to reduce listening to hearing. It is far, far more than that. Listening, again, when we say getting on the same page, is actually wearing the other person's shoes. So when you hear the term emotional intelligence, that's where the connection is coming from. You can't be emotionally intelligent if you don't have the ability to listen to people. And when you say you listen to people, it means that you're wearing their shoes. You know where they are. Tell me a successful business that does not have the ability to listen. Successful businesses listen to their customers. They give them time. They give them attention. When you are with them, you think that you are on top of the world, or as if you are the center of everything, because as far as they are concerned, you are the center of everything. They don't snub you. They give you attention. They listen to you because they want to get on your page, wear your shoes to know how you feel. In customer experience, customer service, there's what you call customer journey. A sound organization knows the journey that the customer traveled through to buy, even after buying its products or its services. So to be successful in the various businesses that we are doing, communication is so key. Our ability to listen effectively is very, very key and essential. So knowing that we've got so much of these advantages growing up, because it's not everybody that is exposed to that opportunity, what that says to me is that we may need to do a lot of work by ourselves. We may need to do a lot of work by ourselves. So let's break it down a little bit more. Communication has got some subtle impact that you could find. But I think a good way to start is to actually begin by maybe break communication into different parts. And I'm going to do a little bit of writing now for us to get the point that I am making here. Let's break it into a little bit of parts. So usually you would hear that communication is verbal and non-verbal communication. That's usually to bring it to the summary. Interestingly, the verbal communication, what we say, is actually about 7% of communication, really, just 7%. The voice that you hear. But the interesting thing is that the biggest part of communication is 53%, which is the non-verbal communication. The things that we're saying, even when we're not saying them. Very, very key. So you're hearing me now, but interestingly, because you're looking at me, you're actually hearing more than I am saying. with my voice. Of course, the remaining one part of it comes to your tonality, the vocal varieties, the way you bring color into your voice and the things you say. So I seem to be really more interested in the non-verbal. Maybe I could give in examples with respect to the vocal varieties that I'm talking about. If I wake up this morning and say, good morning, and I say, good morning, you see, I've just used the same words, but obviously you're going to take them differently because the sound of my voice, the tonality, the pitch, and all of those things, they've changed. I don't think you want to live in a house with someone that wakes up in the morning to say, good morning to you. But how about, good morning? How did you have a nice rest? You want that. So when we talk about non-verbal, coming to that now, which is the highest percentage, 53%. In fact, there's a Chinese proverb that says that the one that cannot smile should not open a shop. Smiling, if you ask me, is non-verbal. So why are you squeezing your face, for God's sake? I remember once getting on a queue in a bank and I wanted to withdraw money. So I saw there's a lady in front of me. She asked for 1,000 naira note. It was given to her. When it was my turn, I asked for 1,000 naira note because what I was taking out was a little bit huge in sum. And the lady across the counter, with so much of attitude, said to me, without even looking at me, oh, we don't have 1,000 naira note. We only have 200. And then, interestingly, I was looking at 1,000 naira note. So I had to say to her that, oh, that's 1,000 naira note. Well, it's for the ATM. We don't have 1,000 naira note. So I was wondering, maybe I had something to do with her pastor. But I've not met her before. And then she went ahead and started counting the 200 naira note. So I raised my voice. Her name was Amaka. I said, Amaka, you will pay me 1,000 naira note here today. I raised the voice again and repeated the same thing. The manager came down and asked me if I wanted mint of 1,000 naira. I said no. I said, Amaka will pay me 1,000 naira note here today because I want her to know that if people like me don't show up in the banking hall at the doorstep of your market, you will not have business and there is no food on your dining table until we are able to connect what we are doing to our dining table. Because hunger, it's a good way of communicating to people. Then we don't perform very well. So you hope your customers smile. That's communication. Why do we like babies? Because they smile at us. So that's very, very key. Okay, let me move a little bit further. How about dressing? It's oftentimes said that the way you dress is the way you be addressed. Appearance is reality. That's the interesting thing. That's taking us a little bit into branding. Appearance is reality. So how do I appear to the customer? Do I appear serious or do I appear unserious? You know, I once had an interview when this young guy showed up and he was wearing a shirt of green on a trousers of yellow. And the first question I asked him was, did you do fine art in school? Because he was completely off it. Yes, ladies can play around with colors. Even now, they have to be careful. But if you are a guy, you have to stay around the regular colors. You're black, you're gray. If you are doing blue, you know where to bring in white. You don't just go to many of those colors anyhow. So you have not said anything, but you have communicated to whoever is meeting you, especially if they pay attention to those very, very little things. How about, you want to say eating, because sometimes you meet clients over lunch, over dinner. Some of them you can't refuse. Like my mom, when we were growing up, would extend an anointing of slap to you if she hears your mouth sounding while you're eating. We didn't understand then, but it became clear later. You're not playing music. You're literally just eating, even making noise with the cutlery. So some of these things could be offensive and they could actually be taking away from us the very important things that we want, even in business. And again, you come to the anointing that come from the mouth, the ones that break the yoke. You know, someone says good morning and you're not hearing their good morning, but you are trying to avoid the, the rush that is coming out of the place, or even the ones that come from the body. When they raise their hands or raise any part of the body, you're scared. It's a place where you could use perfume or, some of this body spray. These things are actually offensive. Really, they are. And what you're communicating is that, oh, I don't think I'm doing a good job here. So people want to do business with who they like. If you don't smell nice, why should they do business with you? I mean, you don't have to go to the extreme of, again, becoming offensive with whatever you're spraying, because in my estate, when I go out working in the evening, there's a lady, she also works. So I see her, because we go the opposite direction. Anytime she passes me, the perfume, it's so strong and it becomes quite offensive. So you are not impressing anybody like that. But you see, you should be there without people knowing that they know that something nice is there, but they just can't place their finger on it. Again, you take it from there and go to makeup. Ladies, you're doing a makeup. The beauty of a makeup is when we cannot differentiate where the tomato is, or the pepper is, or the fish is. That's a good soup, But if you have to be separating the foundation from the pillar, and then the Robin Hood that goes in the leaves or whatever, there is a problem. Makeup is supposed to make you look more beautiful, not to cause problem. Even the dresses, the cleavages and all of those things, it's important to keep those things in mind, because you may be offending somebody. We are still communicating. And these are non-verbal communication that we're having on a day-to-day basis that is making people decide if they want to have something to do with us or not. So when you get into the business environment, do you have your business card? What's the branding like? Is the branding confusing? Letterhead, all of those things. What does it look like? When you're having meetings, what type of packaging do you? I'm not saying you should go stealing or go above and beyond but there is a way you should be presented that makes people take you serious. And I can tell you a past example of mine here. Way back when I started business as a business consultant, my first client introduced me to a friend of his who has an office somewhere on the island. And I think engineering close, yeah. So we've been having conversation on the phone, and it was time to meet in person. And so we met in person to have conversation around what the solution I am going to provide to him was going to look like. So we agreed, and it was coming to the sum of 2 million. We agreed payment terms and how everything was going to be done. So, of course, that time you don't wear suits, you wear coats. The way it looks. So I stepped down, and I didn't have a ride. There was no Uber. There was no boat. There was nothing like that. So I stepped down right in front of his office. I waved my hand to say hello to a bike. As I was hopping on the bike, interestingly, my client-to-be was actually watching. That was the last time he called me. I figured that he looked at, even when I called him, he didn't pick my call. I figured that he looked at it and wondered, is this who I'm going to give 2 million to? So my point is, how do you present yourself? Because people will first begin by dealing with what they are seeing before they see what the content is. So appearance is reality to so many, many people. Okay, maybe it's time to start concluding, because we can't finish the whole of communication today. Okay, So Jim Rohn was the one that will say that success is attracted by the person you become. Success is attracted by the person you become. For things change, for things to change, you have to change. For things to change, you have to change. Meaning, these things look little, but I have to think about it. I have to worry about them. I have to bother about them. They are really very, very key. And that's why the same man says, you should stop looking for better job, but better job is looking for better you. So I'm here to say to you today, your technical skills that you would acquire would not be enough. I can assure you of that. But your ability to manage business effectively, present yourselves, and communicate effectively will go a long way to help. I hope with these few points of mine, I've been able to confuse somebody, maybe not convinced, confuse somebody into deciding to probably look at how you communicate. Of course, it's a work in progress. We will never get there, but we have to continue to work on this. Thank you very much. I hope I didn't use too much of time because I was trying to be conscious of it. Pastor Paul.
Thank you so very much, sir. You are right on time. We still have some minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I announced at the beginning, if you have a few questions from all you have heard Patrick say, I think it would be great. You can begin to ask your questions on the platform. Now, I am glad to announce that I think we already, as the last I checked, we're about 370 on YouTube who are connected to this presentation. Please, if you have any question from what Patrick has said so far, please, can you begin to set them on board? And also, I want to take this time to appreciate, we have two other transcribers who have joined us. Okay, you know, yesterday we were talking about Okafor Maureen. Today, I am glad to announce that we have one Ayodele Christiana and Utibe Babalola. They have literally transcribed rather, all that Patrick was saying. So please, can I have your questions? If you have any question, I'm still waiting. That's why I'm still talking. If you have any question to ask from what Patrick has said, can you bring the questions on right now? I only hear what I'm reading from you guys is just appreciations, clap of hands, various emoji expressions of appreciation. You know, fantastic, excellent teaching. God bless you. These are things I'm seeing. Do we have any questions on the verbal and non-verbal? Today is business communication. Is there something you thought you would have mentioned, you never mentioned, that has to do with communication? Please, can you bring them up? We still have 4 minutes to take this. Wow. Okay. It looks like it's all about, yes, Esther. Smiling, yes, smiling is a form of non-verbal. That's what Patrick said, if you have checked the transcriptions. Okay, Okpeyemi, you said, my question is, how can you communicate high prices to your product to customers? Patrick, I hope you hear me. How can you communicate your high prices to your customers?
So I think that question, it's a huge question because there are so many things that are involved in it. The starting point is, why is your price high? If your price is high to your customer, is either that's not the customer group you should be serving, or something is wrong with your pricing strategy.
Okay, sorry, Patrick, just made a correction. He said increased price. I think the person intends to increase the price.
Okay.
How does he communicate it?
So again, it's not away from what I'm saying.
Okay.
If you're increasing your price and your customer cannot perceive the value, that price will be seen as high. So how do you communicate this? You have to make sure that your offer becomes irresistible. Irresistible in what sense? Irresistible that the offer is so ridiculous that the customer does not have choice but to want to take it. So back to the point, why are you raising your price? Okay, because everybody is raising price around, there is this, then you have to be able to make that irrevocably clear. And as a matter of fact, if you're doing that, is there something new I'm going to benefit? Not just come to say, oh, price has increased because of what? Is there any add-on you're going to add to it? If I buy X from you, am I going to get Y? Is there something free that is coming to it? You need to play all of that out, because really this could vary from businesses to businesses. But you see, another way is to also do an opinion poll. But I've noticed that when you do an opinion poll with the customers, usually they will always want it to be at a lesser price. They will always want it to be at a lesser price. So what do? You have to take a second look at your offer very well. Take a second look at your offer very well and package it very well. Now, the point is, I'm going back to that very important one. If your price is too high for your customer, either you are increasing it or not, is either that customer is no longer your customer, it does not fit the profile of who you serve, or something is wrong with the way you have structured your price. Why are you offering a price to a customer segment that cannot afford it? That means that's the part of the market that you serve. The part of the market that you serve, when you increase price, they have what it takes to absorb it, because they know that they are the one who you are actually serving. So I wouldn't say to you, oh, write paragraph 1, write paragraph 2, write or speak like this. No, I think you need to go back. You need to re-engineer your products or re-engineer your price before you conclude that you're increasing. Don't increase because everybody around is increasing. No. But when you increase, at the end of the day, your customer must have justification for why you're increasing.
Thank you, sir. Thanks. I have a couple of questions.
I'm done. Well,
all right. Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, sir. We have a couple of questions. Somebody is asking, how do we deal with wrong communication when we are not even aware of it? That's one. I need to just let me lump them because of time so that I can just deal with them. And that one said, do we choose the way our facial appearance is over the way we physically dress, which should overshadow the other? The third question here is that what happens if I have a very important meeting but have cold and running nose? Is it most advisable to reschedule the meeting? Now all the questions are coming. I am very sorry we might not be able to deal with all these questions right now. Okay, please, I'm sure you can take this straight because of time. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. The first question is around wrong communication. How do you detect it if you don't even know it? I think it comes to your level of awareness. That's it. It's difficult to answer that question because I don't know specifically what area you're talking about. So you talk about propaganda, you talk about fake news and all of those things. Those are communication. And if you don't have that level of exposure, if you are not well educated in the sense of, I don't mean going to school, but well informed, let's put it that way rather, then it's it may be difficult for you to know if a communication is right or is wrong. I mean, just look at it when you were in school, secondary school, whatever your teacher says, it's just right. You know, even in many of the universities who gave birth to you, in universities in Nigeria, who gave birth to you for you to question what the teacher is teaching. Meanwhile, in some other places, the teacher actually brings the problem to the class and expects that people should have different types of opinions. That's how I teach. I don't want you to accept everything that I'm saying. If some doesn't work well for you, we should be able to discuss it and debate it. So the call will come to you because you are the one who decides what your level of exposure is. And exposure actually is something you do on a daily basis and constant. This is what we're doing today now. It's part of exposure. And so you continue to have more of it. Facial versus physical. I'm not going to tell you that there is one that is better. You have to be on point everywhere. You know, if you're going for a meeting and you know what that meeting requires, then you need to dress properly for the occasion. And if you can dress so well, but your demeanor is so poor I mean, you go around frowning, and the messages you're communicating with your facial appearance is so bad. You look at people, you stare at them in the name of eye contact, stare at them and leave your eyes on their face, embarrass them. No. So Aristotle will say virtue lies in the middle. So you have to find a way to make sure that you balance everything. And that also speaks to the makeup, you know, light makeup, nice dress. People just say, oh, there's something nice about you. They may not be able to put there just as a good soup is. I don't know. Recently, I was in a Calabar kitchen somewhere in Lekki, and by the time I was done eating that soup, it was onion soup or something like that. White soup, yes, that's the name. You know, I could not find the Maggi, I could not find the salt or look for the pepper, and I had it with the pounded yam. It was so cool. I still remember it after 3 months. You see, I'm telling you now. Why? Because the soup was just good. That's exactly how your appearance should be when you're dealing in a business environment. The last question was talking about cold and running nose. Yeah, you may have to call your clients and say, this is how I am feeling at the moment. Can we have this meeting online? Or is it okay to reschedule because I would not like to infect you with
inconvenience you.
I would not like to get you in communion with where I am. So you could actually have that conversation, unless if the client now says yes, it's important, then you probably go ahead and also not only share your business ideas, but also share kata and code with the clients, all the same. So Pastor, I think that's fine.
Thank you so very much. Thank you very much, Patrick. Yes, we can now get back to the appreciation. I am also glad to announce that at this meeting today, we had about 465 on YouTube and 22 of us on the webinar. So we are about 487 that have benefited from this. Please Pastor, don't forget. Yeah, don't forget that this message is still on demand on our YouTube channel, Dsap Daystar. Go review it. And also remember, we are planning on having a few quizzes. We are trying to introduce quizzes to our business management skills. For those of you who did not attend this class, this session yesterday, or you joined later or network threw you out, we've asked you to go and take time to revise all that we have taught, we are teaching you during our business management skills sessions. Please take time and listen. When you listen, take note. Okay, so I also need to finally appreciate our new transcribers. You know, they are making the learning more understandable for some of us. Okay, Okafor Maureen, who first started this, she was still on call today, also still transcribing. We have new ones like Utibe Babalola. I hope I pronounced that word well. And then Ayodele Christiana. Thank you. In fact, I had another introduction now where I see some people were even answering some of those questions people were asking, referring them to what Patrick has said. This is indeed the optimal way of learning. So I want to thank each and every one of us as we get ready to get back to classes. Yes, sir.
So, Pastor, sorry, I saw a question here. I will just say a phrase about it. It says, how do you communicate with someone who has body odor? My recommendation is you need to keep there are social distances that you need to keep. You keep them in the hands way as much as possible. I don't know if that's what you mean, or telling them that they have body odor. If they are close to you, yes, but if they're not, you can't tell people who are not close to you that they have body odor. Okay. And then let me add, please, that if you probably think I can answer more of your question, you can connect with me on Instagram or LinkedIn. You can take Patrick Oluyede. Just reference Dsap.
All right, sir. Maybe what you would do is we will share your social media platforms. You just send it to us. We'll share it on students' platforms. So those that have more questions for Patrick, expect to see his social media platform that we will share with you guys. Otherwise, if it's something that, since they will not have access to the webinar, it's something that we share with them in the classes. Thank you very much, sir. Once again, we appreciate you as always. Everyone, I had a call from the United States yesterday. A lady who was once our president called to plead for the sister. Unfortunately, she was so disappointed that I could not help. What was it? Your sister kept for 2 days. She refused to change her name. She was using a device name and she was put out and therefore was absent from that for 2 days. And now they want us to assist. And as much as I loved that my beloved president, I told her it was impossible to help. All right, your sister has been out of class for 2 days because she chose to be that. We made a lot of announcements. We have written every day. We announce that. All right, now it is time to begin to plead. I told us at the beginning, when you don't listen to us, when you come pleading on the same thing we have said severally, we will not listen to you. So I want to plead. I want to apologize in advance if that offends you. But truly speaking, if you're out because of absenteeism due to your own negligence on signing a pattern, too bad. Please forgive us. All right, forgive us, but that's how the school runs. School has got to be disciplined. This is one of the places you come in and you brush up. We help you to brush up. Not just some of us do some of these things. That's a wonderful sister, a student here who refused to change her name. She kept claiming it was her business name. And I actually felt very offended at that. How will you be in a school? And I said, remove her and your admission is canceled with immediate effect. She quickly, in 3 seconds, she changed her name. And the rest of yesterday, I almost couldn't rest because she kept calling, apologizing. Why do we need to allow it to get that bad? Why do you want to be a hero on the wrong side? Change your name. It's for your good. It's for you to be recognized as having been in class. If you choose to be absent in the last 2 days of this program, you be absent and you do your assignment, you will not graduate. That's the rule of the school. So please, help us to serve you best. Thank you very much. I see Your Excellency, I said, President, do you have any contributions to make today? Any announcements, Ma? Oh, sorry, you're muted. I'm sure you can unmute. All right.
No, sir, not at all.
Not at all. Okay. Salai, did you have any announcement? Folakemi, are you here?
Nothing from my end, sir.
All right.
Nothing
So
from my end, sir.
All right.
Morning,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, everyone. Thank you so much once again, Patrick. Best regards. Okay, everyone. So see you in school. I'll see you in your class again. Thanks for being here today, and God bless.